right, so welcome to Gem Collectors with Shawn. I am that Shawn, and my final words before we went live, so to speak, were just don't make my hair look gray. I tell you what, I don't know what the deal was. They were showing me some pictures Osif was from not long ago, and my hair was like brown, and I don't know where I think it's just the lighting, of course, but it had a gray tinge, especially when you do it side by side. You know, enough of that. No, got enough problem with my teeth and you know, liver spots. What's a liver spot? And well, if any of you know a good way to get rid of one, let me know. I have some of those popping up. So anyway, you know, I'd much rather look down at the ground and find sapphires or rubies, or the easiest thing in these parts, guess what? And I've showed you garnets. We have an amazing variety of garnets that are just found in the local mica schists. And on our property alone, we actually, what we have is two claims. Raven claimed hers, which is on the side of the house, which is quite, and her and the neighbor dig on, and share some of that, since the neighbor built a house and dug up, as she was building that house, more into that micaceous outcropping that was, you know, buried in clay and had been weathering out. But then with that help, I mean, some beautiful pieces of mica with, you know, they were weathered, but you could see still the half dodecahedral side to them. And, you know, the almandine iron garnet. So pretty neat to be able to look down, find those kind of things, even if they're not that great. They're still, when you find them to a rock hound, they're wonderful. My, of course, primary deposit is the gold that I'm working on, you know. But no, on the downside of the backside of the hill, same thing. Another nice, except this one has a lot more quartz with it. So it's pretty neat. And that's why, like Anthony finishes his notes with eyes down, because if your hobby is a stargazer and astronomy, you would say eyes up, because that's where your world and what you're interested in is. But for us rockhounds, you know, unless it's a meteor coming right at you, and you happen to be looking up as it's going, you know, 18,000 miles an hour or so, you won't get much of a look before your look is over with. So anything you may want to see would be down on the ground. Now, I have a lot to get to. We have, as you know, been bringing in some really neat things for you. Have some more. Also have some sale items, and I am going to do the Brad in Pennsylvania challenge, which for those of you, if you remember, his challenge was if I could tell him what he bought in September of 2022. So we'll review that and then see. He said I could use my notes, so we'll see. We'll go to that. Okay, let's see. The trivia questions, which we're going to do as part of the comments. I welcome, and I know there's new viewers of you all the time, and there's a good, steady, regular following of this show, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me, for there to be such a regular hobbyists, educators, just a whole cross section, because that's the kind of show I like to present, because I have been in every different area, facet, let's use that word, of this, from you know, working in a rock shop. That was my first job, the William Harris Rock Shop in Sarasota, Florida, that's still operating today by the sun, and that was a great experience. But from that to, I ended up with, working with. I only had 1 week of formal training at the International School for Jewelers in Tacasta, Florida, which was great. I was 17 and I had already been doing some silversmithing and had already been cutting gemstones, fasting, and cabochoning for years by then. So went there. That was only formal. My real treat I got was when I was 20 and I wanted to go west. So I made it as far as Colorado, my brother and I. My just older brother went up, and we ended up, my ideal of where I wanted to work and the kind of situation I wanted to work in, of course, was just like so many of the young dreamers that head to Hollywood or follow their dream and think of in their mind what they want to become and what they want to do. Well, mine ended up to be far below what my goal and thoughts that I would be able to achieve. I wanted to work in Durango. I even knew the little town. I wanted to work as a goldsmith. I could even picture the little custom store, and none of that came true. The only place I ended up able to get a job was, of course, in the big city of Denver. Downtown, there was a building called the University Building that housed, almost all jewelry-related businesses, and so I ended up only being able to walk to work because it was downtown. Parking cost money, and even though I had a canvas top Jeep, they got me out there, and it was great for exploring. Oh my, that's when I explored so many gold mines in Colorado, and literally went in them, and a lot of great knowledge gleaned from that, and prospecting as well. Those are stories for another day. But I got a job as a goldsmith, and the treat was, his name truly says it all. Rocco Raffrano. I'll never forget Rocco Raffrano. And he was I was like 20 years old, and he was in his 60s at that time, an Italian goldsmith. How fortunate. He only had one other person working there that was slow to learn. And so when I came in with my modern methods, which was high-speed discs, and I didn't use any files, and all these techniques, he was like, no, you're going to put all those down, and you first will learn it my way. And he was very strict about that, and I felt like I went back half a century in development of tools for the trade and the speed at which something could be done and whatnot. And even his steamer plate, it was on a hot plate, and it just was, ran through a coil. It was all primitive, nothing modern. He made his own tubing. That's how I learned how to pull and create my own tubing. I learned how to make my own 6-prong Tiffany style head by hand, which is made in 3 parts, and they interlock together. It was because this was before findings, in other words, parts were available from one catalog that you could, call up one day and get them the next, which is the way it is now, but not the way he grew up and not the way he was still doing things. He accepted when he saw the speed at which I could use my modern tools with, but after I learned it his way, it was such a treat. I felt like I was getting a educational value that I should have been paying him to be there, because it was like studying under a master. And you would normally have to go to Italy and pay for that, and here I was, and I way outperformed the other goldsmith. I was there. It was a very successful time that I had, and it worked out well for him and I. So there's so many positives that you never know what you're going to run across, and there was a reason why I ended up where I ended up, as opposed to what my dream ideal place was, you know, to end up to be able to learn and get paid for it under someone such as him, and learn everything in a way that I would never have gotten taught, or the opportunity to be taught in any other situation. It was, boy, a true universal gift handed to me. So anyway, for those of you who didn't know, there's just a little extra tidbit to how I progressed and wound up where I am here now. I had 2 retail jewelry stores. Both are still in business. I had created them, moved on from them, left them as a part of my legacy as well. And here, now you get the opportunity to get mineral specimens that I've been collecting for 51 years now, since the age of 11. And I know when I got most of these older ones, but there was a block of time where, you know, I was just getting stuff, you know, from off the street being sent to me by other pawn shops, by other jewelry stores. They said, well, we don't deal in rocks or minerals, you know, we don't know what to do with them, but go to this guy, he does. And so that's where I got a wonderful opportunity on different collections that I thoroughly enjoyed the pieces from, and now you're getting to get in on. So there's been a series of them. Then, of course, the big Indian, we're going to talk about that. The Indian zeolite purchase. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so the 2 questions from last week was a stone cut by local cutters and often poorly cut is called what type of cut in the trade? So when we come across these stones, like I showed you last week, that sapphire, and explained often why that's done. Tanzanites, I told you my deal that I was able to buy tanzanites for so inexpensively. You just took the cut as they were and then had them recut. Weight loss didn't matter. You come out with a beautiful stone for still way less than the market value. And it allows locals to be able to make a living to some extent from cutting, which is often required by governments, so that the labor stays in the country, which I actually agree with. I actually agree with. It should be done that way. They did later in almost all these places. They bring in specialized cutters to teach the local people to cut properly. It was just better all the way around. So that often can date a stone. And like I said, I knew the history of that stone, that sapphire last week, going back to the 70s, which would make sense because a lot of transition took place after the finds of in the 1967 and of Savarite and of Tanzanite. So that's when transitions had occurred. So answer to that is a native cut. Simple as that. Great name, makes sense. It's just called a native cut. The native local people, the people native to the land, cut it. And that's why it's given that name. Okay, other question was, Afghanite is closely related to 2 different other minerals. What are they? Answer, lazurite and, well, you can pronounce this now. I've seen 4 different ways. Alwyn, Howin, Alween, something like that. So to those 2 different minerals, and that would be the right answer. Okay, so let's get started now. First to answer, though, Brad's question to me. So his trivia question to me is, what did he purchase and Brad's been coming in here and throughout these shows, and like he said, he doesn't always get to watch every show, but he tried to catch up. But he comes in and he poaches on some of these wonderful deals that I think aren't recognized by others, or he just is in the right place at the right time to get the item, because I, in using my notes, which I have a special notebook. It's a magic notebook, and it's called a Christie book. Yep. It's a magic notebook called a Christie book. And this this magic note keeper told me that you bought. This is why I don't let or want you to, any of you, to ever really count and figure out how much you have spent at, not only at Gem Shopping, but at Gem Collectors with Shawn. Yep, it's not allowed for you to realize or figure out how much you've spent. But I have it here at what you spent, Mr. Brad. Why not? Because I refigured. The first thing you got was a Mumbai, Stillby, and Apophyllite specimen. Both my Christie keeper and myself could not believe the price of $38. It weighed 2 pounds and was 5 by 5.5 inches. So much so that she actually went back and ran. I mean, I didn't ask her to, but it was kind of curious that she did. She actually poofed and magically out of that notebook pulled up the video from that date of the show and heard me say $38. I think that's called poaching. I remember all this. A Morocco Galena and Barite specimen for $28. Reynolds County, Missouri Pagoda calcite, Pakistani Sphene and calcite collector specimen for $34. That must have been a really big sale day. That was just on the 14th. But my memory tells me on the 21st that you bought also a world-class Morocco Vanadinite specimen and barite. World-class. I remember that specimen. Of course I'm going to remember that specimen. Anything that says world-class, I remember. He poached that at a phenomenal deal compared to what the market value would be. And then on the 27th of September, I remember also, oh yes, it's all right here, an Afghani sodalite and tremolite polished freeform. It was about that high, and the rest of you might remember it too. And it was had like 3 sides coming down from it. It was all beautifully polished. And this thing, under fluorescent light, just had a lot to say. It was a really, really neat piece. It also had scapolite and hexagonite in it. And so there you go. Fluorescent, all kinds of stuff. And it was only $58. So there you go, Mr. Brad. See if I'm right about your last September purchases. But I cannot imagine that, and obviously I did, because my magical Christie notebook magically replayed the tape right there for me to hear my words, and pricing spat back at me. All right, so here we go. Mr. Harry in Pennsylvania, who we have not heard from. So he said, I got a stone in from a guy I trust claiming this is pink opal. Now I know it should have conchoidal fracturing on the surface and be a hardness of 6.5 to 7. I tell you, I scratched it with my tweezers after I was making a flat surface on a 320 lap, and it seemed to almost melt into pink milk. And it crumbles apart too. Any suggestions? Sorry I haven't been in touch much. I just get all depressed as can't buy anything. Harry, you know, it's like looking at big fancy houses. I understand that, what you mean. It's like it's easier not to even drive down the streets or look at them. But then the other part, sometimes it is. You know, for me, it's people that have a old mine shaft in their backyard or something. That's where my envy comes from. So listen, you know, you don't have to buy anything or be compelled to buy anything. We just want you part of the group, and you don't even have to comment. You can just, you know, just watch the show for the education what you might get from it, and no purchase required. And just enjoy it for what it is. At least I hope you and everybody else can as well. You know, it's one of these shows that it was actually originally set up by just a fantastic person we had here to be more of a, you know, all these shows are show and sell, but it's allowed to be a little bit more show and tell. And you get to learn from a specimen and buy it at the same time. So just enjoy it for that. All right, so regarding that opal, yes, I have some hints for you. Okay, for one, the hardness of 6.5 to 7, that's a little too hard in general for most of the opal I find from there. It's not going to be that hard. Here's the other thing. When you go and take a pinpoint of some type and go to scratch it on the back, if it creates a scratch without raising a furrow, you know how you take a hoe down, you know, in a garden, digging a garden, and the soil will roll up on both sides as you take a hoe down the middle, and you have that edge. Well, whether it's amber, turquoise, many different stones, including opal. Remember, opal can easily dry out. Like the opals in Virgin Valley, a lot of them in Nevada, you know, boy, you take them out of the ground, you better put them back in water real quick because they'll start crumbling apart because they will dry out. Remember, opal is part water, so some opal is stable, like the Ethiopian opal, and doesn't craze. But other opals, they like a lot of the Mexican opals will, they'll dry out, and what happens is they crumble after that. So what do the clever little, well, treaters, let's call them. I used to call them just cookers because they were just people that were, you know, heat treating stuff. But now they do all kinds of gems. So those that enhance gemstones through other means or stabilize them, like turquoise. There are so many methods that have been perfected through the learning of doing it for turquoise. And speaking of, has any of you noticed this? Yeah. Raven and I have never shown, brought in, exhibited, or sold any of our Native American jewelry. This is a piece, it is signed and hallmarked, Navajo, and it is, we can pinpoint the year it was made to around 1935 to 1938. Her grandmother and husband at the time out west on a road trip. Of course, they're from a family in Columbus, one of the old original founding families, has the 7-Up franchise, etc. In other words, the wherewithal to be able to get a nice piece of jewelry. from what I can tell, these turquoise and don't have the treatments. And of course, treatments in the 1930s were not something that was regularly thought to be done or perfected. This is the real deal. And so I actually borrowed it from the Raven. You think I get to have anything like this? But I'm looking at it here on the monitor. Wow, that's beautiful. That is a stunning piece of jewelry. If I took this off and laid it on a neck, you know, because what do I always say? Just show off the stone. If the stone is nice enough, you don't have to put all this other pizzazz and jazz around it. Then that's what has been done here. They are solidly back, and we also are letting the silver develop its natural patina, which it already does have, you know, a 80, 90 years of oxidation on it. So in case you were wondering, there's an entire provenance and history that we can relate it to, and it is a signed piece, which is really important when it comes to true, genuine Native American jewelry. You know, I have never even discussed or shared with you my knowledge of this type of jewelry. Because I really haven't had much to sell. I did sell it when I had the live show, and I was a consultant for a lot of other people that sold this material as to defining it and determining original or not, etc. So anyway, just a little information on that. So regarding the pink opal, if you take a sharp object and go across the flat surface and it raises a little edge on both sides, instead of just creating a scratch, which is all it should do when you're doing scratch tests, is it should just create literally a plane on the same plane and just a scratch. If you press really hard, you may dig out, and you have, you know, a big difference in hardness, you may dig out a little line of material. But what I refer to when they are impregnated with a resin or an epoxy type of material that stabilizes, you know, turquoise, opals, these kind of things, one way you can often tell is it'll leave a little furrowed edge to both sides of where you draw your hardness line. So you can also test for a smell test. Use a hot pin, touch it to it, and if you get back a any kind, you know, a rock doesn't put off a smell unless, of course, you burn it, like if you're burning a piece of sulfur or something. But something like that, you will get a synthetic smell, like a resin, like a glue type of smell when you do that type of test. So I would say that if you have genuine opal, that it has probably been stabilized or been some type of resin used to stabilize the material, and you know, it looks good to start, but as you saw, it will crumble on the interior because that depending on exactly how it was done, if it wasn't done correctly, you know, that resin and everything that gets impregnated into it is more just on a surface. So easy to the inside to dry, to contract, to do everything. And yeah, I would say that at best, if it's genuine, it has definitely been treated to some extent. So, but anyway, Harry, stay in touch. Miss Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. That was a very educational and enjoyable show last week. Thank you. But the picture was pixelated at 720p and the sound was like you were underwater. Not complaining, just so you know. The higher resolution would make those rare items that you had today, like the Afghanite and conocalcite, pop off the screen. I still enjoyed it. Trivia, Lazurite and Aween, getting those right, or Awen, however way you want to pronounce it. Native cut. Have a wonderful week and stay as safe as you can out there. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Yes, Cindy, I'm sitting right here with the big man himself, director of production, and everything that you see on the TV or the internet regarding gem shopping has everything to do with that man. So I just asked him right there before the show started your question, and I loved it. Instant answer, boom, boom, boom. And yes, there was a technical issue that caused that to occur, but that has been remedied, and you should have no problem in going back to your regular show. I'm glad you enjoyed it anyway, and that it didn't ruin your experience. So, you know, things can happen. All right, so let's see. We have Miss Gabby. Hello, everyone. The Trouble with Tribbles was that Star Trek episode you mentioned. I know, I said Troubles. And later, of course, I mentioned it to Raven, and she knows all things that are Star Trek. And she said, no, it's the Tribbles. I said, oh, that's right. Tribbles, kibbles, tribbles. Got to remember that. You know, word association. The Trouble with Tribbles. One of my favorites also, Miss Gabby says, I still want one of those soft, furry, purry little things. Yeah, exactly, compared to some of the monsters that Star Trek came up with over the years, you know. And, you know, they weren't afraid of zapping and losing a member of, you know, the Star Trek crew, you know. Lost a bunch of crew over that time. So, yeah, the Tribbles. That was a nice innocent innocent one. Great lineup this week of multi-mineral specimens. Was able to get that beautiful conocalcite. Well done, Miss Gabby. Trivia answers are Ween, Lazurite, and Native. Withdrawing if correct. You are correct. Sincerely, Miss Gabby. Note. Yes. Trip to Arkansas. I got it. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts says, hello all. Enjoyed the show very much, particularly the in-detail description of the display cabinet and lighting. Yeah, I wish I could go on and give you more detail of how to create the different ones that I did, and that, you know, how to solve dark areas of your cabinet, and how to do, when and where to do mirror shelving or a mirror background. Sometimes you don't always want to use a mirror, but it's a lot of fun, and to put in the different lighting and then get the end result and have all these buttons to control it. That's just my thing. All right, so I'm in the process of rearranging my workspace with a new to me, workbench. I have a large industrial shelving unit that can be, I think, converted into a display cabinet. With a little imagination and borrowing some of your lighting ideas, it should turn out pretty good. Still lots to do, but I'm having a blast. I can't stress enough how effective just find the type that will work for you and bend the way you want. Strip lighting. They have now the strip lighting that you know, just basically it looks like it peels off a little thin sheet. It's not the kind with the flexible like tubing or hosing over it, even though I've used that. But that little micro stripping, that stuff, oh wow, is amazing. And then you can use the end of lighting strips like that point to place inside an opening in a particular mineral specimen that you have, and kind of finish it off like that, so that you can create unique lighting when the opportunity presents itself on a specimen with an opening light. So just all kinds of fun. And remember, if you want, you can arrange it to where you have a fluorescent shelf with your fluorescent lighting right there, and you can shut everything else down, flood just that particular spot with your fluorescent lighting, and that is fun. It's like for me, that's just kid stuff. I really enjoy it. All right, so he goes on, the Afghanite specimen, I had to take a look at my lazurite specimen. This is important, everybody, as it looks very similar to the Afghanite. My lazurite is in a matrix of calcite and mariolite, and the calcite fluorescence to a beautiful pink. The top is covered with mariolite with the isometric shape crystal jutting out the top. I believe the Afghanite crystal you mentioned is triclinic. So to the eye, the similarities are they are blue crystals. Side note, there is more interesting discussion on Alwyn and lazurite on the midnight side. Yes, it is so technical when you're talking about those three. And a sulfide converting to a sulfate, losing its fluorescence, and then becoming opaque. I think those key comments I made in the show last week are what you need to remember, because that is where you're changing over to more of the type of material in lapis lazuli, which is a lazurite. But true lazurite, it needs to be sulfur dominant, and so there's just a lot to that, and the key though is in the crystal system to determine that. Now let me say this, and I have to admit it, and I'm not sure exactly what you're saying the shape of your crystal is, but there was at least 2 or 3 crystal specimens I sold probably at the time you picked that one up that I think I misidentified them because of how confusing it was. And I may have sold some specimens that were Afghanite, which are worth much more than Alwyn or what would have been lazurite, which still specimens are being sold as lazurite when they're technically not. So the key would be the crystal shape. If they look anything like a garnet and like a dodecahedra, then you're okay. Then it's not going to be an Afghanite. But if it has more of that pointed crystal turbination, then it can, and fluoresces, you have to call it an Afghanite, and then you have just greatly increased the amount of value to the piece. So go along with that. All right, trivia. You got all the trivia right, Mr. Well, as we know him, Jimbo in Delaware. Jimbo says, "Hello, Shawn. Glad you were able to get better. Long COVID stinks big time. And you provided another informative show. I will answer the trivia as lazurite and Alwyn. Then the local cut would be native cut. Want to wish all a blessed time. Take care until then. Keep your eyes down to the ground." Jimbo. Well said. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Hello, Professor Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. I think you were trying to remember furry little tribbles. You are correct. It was the tribbles. I couldn't remember that word. Who ate all the, now this I wouldn't have gotten. Who ate all the quadrilaterally grain. Wow. In the episode, The Trouble with Tribbles. I do remember the name of that episode. And wow, the name of the grain, you know, back in the day, that would have been a great, in the bar trivia question for a free beer. You would have won it every time. Nice long show with many intriguing specimens. Hats off to Asif for the length of the show. Was your big garnet a trapezohedron, 24 faces? Well, I'll have to get that out and see. But yes, I believe it was, versus a dodecahedron. But we don't get into complete crystallography. We can just say, oh, it's, close. But you're right. It reminded me of the subway garnet on display at AMNH. That would be American Museum of Natural History, I believe. That is a 9-pound, 10-ounce whopper of an almandine of similar shape dug out of a sewer trench on West 35th Street. Still belongs to the New York Mineralogical Club, on loan to the museum. Subway sounds better than sewer. This is the impressive name. Wow, I would love to see that. That is amazing crystal. How neat to find that. As to the trivia, Afghanite is related to Awa, named after a French mineralogist, René Just. Aoui, pronounced ow as in ouch, owie. And lazurite. Wonky stones cut locally for maximum weight are called native cut. So, yeah, that may be how his name's pronounced, but how the mineral itself, 4 different ways I found, like Webster's pronunciation, I think I used was one way. Mindat was the one not done by the Rouse, but it was by another gentleman, and he's the one that said Howland. So I don't know, just anything close to be good. Just enjoying an old seminar talk about sceptered quartz on YouTube, and a Zoom with inclusions expert John Corvula. Wow, that would be amazing. He is, of course, extremely respected and way up there in the level of knowledge. I know nothing compared to that man. So how fun that would be. Shawn's show on the internet, the places to go for ultra knowledge transfer. Well, I hope you didn't even begin to lump me in anywhere with John Corvula, because he's on a level so much higher than I am. But any compliment in there, I will most certainly take. That's very kind. So, yeah, those minerals, determining between those 3 are very difficult, but it can be done between fluorescence, because the neat thing that I got to show in that Afghanite specimen was, most important, one of them was how the Afghanite fluoresced. Well, you had to go on my word for that, because I couldn't tell you. And the rest of the blue on the specimen and around it didn't, which looked like basically lapis with white matrix also running through it. And that didn't fluoresce at all. So only Afghanite. So, it's making that transition over. And the other thing was the crystal shape, determination and shape of the Afghanite crystal, and the fluorescence between those 2, it really determined it to be what it was. I had a gentleman a few years ago, specifically requesting if I had one. And I don't know if he's still listening to the show, but at the time, I wasn't ready to part with my specimen. I actually put it in my fluorescent display, and would light it up, and that crystal would really glow, the 2 of them. So I enjoyed it, and now, was ready to share it. And that's, kind of how all these are going, is, I'm now getting to share them with others, and it's kind of neat to know where a lot of the important ones that I like are winding up. So, Barbara goes on to say, hope everyone have a great weekend as we approach fall. Barbara from Brooklyn. High and dry on top of a terminal moraine of the Laurentide ice sheet. Very true, and very Very cool. Miss Elisa in Florida. Hello, Professor Shawn, the lovely Raven, GSN crew, and the Rock family. Shawn and Miss Cindy, thank you so much for going the extra mile to get the coral necklace to me. The love from everyone in the group is really amazing, and I'm honored to be a part of such a group. I'm going to opt out this week, but my answers are lazurite and alwyn and native cut. You got them right. My favorite item of the show was the native copper specimen. I always have more I wanted to say, but never remember when I get the chance to sit down and write. Have a good week, everyone. Miss Elisa. That was very kind. What a great note for the length. You put a lot of kindness in there. So well done, Miss Elisa. Okay, so that gets it, and then we're going to get to the goodies, but now we announce the winner. So a lot of people got the items right, and we assign a number to the winners, and then, well, I usually have one of the guys randomly say the number. And this week, that number comes out to make the winner Mr. Anthony in Pennsylvania. Let's show you what you have won. And this is really cool because I have a lot to do. I have a lot to do with it because these are some of the very last I have of the moonstones that I actually mined. And look at the quality of these. Okay, so I'll refresh your memory of the story just real quick. It was many years ago, and you can actually look at the lake level of Lake Lanier to determine what year it was. It was the year the lake was down the record low. We had a drought for a long time, and Lake Lanier was down a good 20 feet or so. Well, I have a canoe, and look at that, canoe and kayaks, and I was taking out the canoe and was out in the lake, and I saw off in the distance, look at the clarity to this, that silver color, a huge reflection coming from the shoreline. And it was crazy. It was just, and so I paddled a little forward, it'd go away, paddled a little backwards, it'd go away. But, you know, at one point, it was just a incredibly bright reflection. And, you know, I had a house on the lake for a long time and was out on the lake a lot. And so, you know, I was familiar with what the shoreline looked like from a distance. And so I paddled. I just put the nose of the canoe right on the reflection, and look at that, paddled straight towards it. And when I got there, it was about what I could see, about 10 feet across, and there was about 10 feet of it up out of the water. I don't know how much further it went down, but it was a huge outcropping of feldspar. I kid you not. Look at the back left corner of this piece. Oh, I should take that out of there. Look at the rainbows in that. Wow, that's like the rainbow feldspar that's coming out of Australia that is worth a lot. Look at that. But it all has to be stabilized. Oh my goodness, look at the banded pattern in that piece. Wow. I sure would like to keep this one, Mr. Anthony, but if you do something neat with it, let me know. Let me know. That's an amazing opportunity, and quite unique and very valuable and desirable. Look at that. That is, I have not seen that in any Georgia moonstone. My goodness. I sure would like to take it back, but I won't. I just won't look at it anymore. So anyway, I mined as much of it as I could. Yep.
Stop. Go ahead and stop. And your read.
Yep. Okay. So, and I was able to recover a batch of it. I took it home, tumbled it. By the time I went back for more, it had rained. The lake came up. I have no idea where that spot is. And wow. So there you go. A little bit of great providence going along with it. Let me tuck these away and we'll start the show. Okay, I have a kind of a neat surprise because I haven't shown you anything quite like this. It's kind of striking because of the color contrast. And when you find out what the minerals are, it's even more striking. What we have here is classic calcite on Brazilian amethyst. Now, what the lack of strength in color in the amethyst, well, it's easily made up for as we look closer at the calcites. Look at these calcite crystals, and then look at how many of them when you get looking closer to them. And then look at the beautiful little additional drusies. Look at the iris on that. But the druzy calcites coming down the side, look at those irises in this calcite. But that's not the best of it, really. The best of it is fluorescence. These calcites fluoresce a mint green, depending, I guess, on exactly which wavelength in the long wave, exactly what range you're using. But it could vary some. But to fluoresce at all is cool, but for it to not fluoresce orange, which is often the color, but to be in the green-blue range, that is really neat. Now, as we turn these around, you get another perspective of the crystals. Look at that. Look at that. They really stand out. But there's an extra goodie yet. Now, we talk about goethite or goethite. It's another one of those names, minerals that can be pronounced multiple different ways. It is, look at this, it is a iron oxide, and it has just some fantastic characteristics in all of the different characteristics in the way it comes. As we look here as close as we can, you're going to see one of the classic ways to determine what you have, and it looks like a broom straw formation. Look at that. You see, great work there, Dave. Wow, I didn't know we could come in this close. This is wonderful. All right, look at that. So you can see, even better yet, look at each acicular needles. Look at that. So these are, wow, a classic look for goethite inclusions. Look at them. And they span the entire length. Look at all the reflections, all the iris reflections. And then there's more. Then there's more. And then there, look at these on this side. Look at them all. Look at these. So this is for if you collect quartz with inclusions, this is a real winner because you can see it in a very natural way. The quartz hasn't been polished. It hasn't been enhanced in any way. Look at these on the other side. Then there's interesting zoning. There is the fluorescent calcites. Look at that. Look at that down there. And then look at the edge. You can see all those little druzy calcite crystals. I love that kind of stuff. So this is for someone that really wants to explore and look around it. I started getting lost and had so much fun and have enjoyed this piece for a long time. So I have an opportunity now. I haven't featured anything like that. I am going to offer it for only $68. Only $68. That's a jewel. Now, okay, so we're talking about iron oxides, right, in the goethite. Well, let's talk about another one. And this one, it is going to be item number 1137923. And when I first got this material and became familiar with it, I thought it was fake. I thought that specular hematite, or spectralite as it's called at times, was basically like what I grew up seeing, the sunstone they called it then, the fake sunstone, where they made those copper pieces, little copper squares in glass or whatever the medium was, that reflected back, and oh my goodness, it was in jewelry everywhere. In the 70s when I saw it, and so I'm sure, it was around for a couple of decades. So I thought this was just a dark version of it instead of a copper version, more of just another metallic version. Well, to come to find out, this is completely natural. This is hematite, and it is mined from what is considered to be the largest hematite deposit in the world, which is in the northern Michigan, the Keweenaw Peninsula, and in a huge sedimentary deposit in that area. Now, where exactly it goes to, I'm not sure, but it's apparently quite large. And as part of that hematite deposit, so remember, hematite is a iron oxide and is found in many different colors and forms, and so this is another one of it. Let's look closer at this, and you will see that this is a thank you. Look at that. Look at that. So sometimes in some of it, mica can be interspersed, but in most of it, it is just little platelets of hematite. Now, this has been sprayed with a multi-lacquer coat, and it's a estate piece actually. So, but if there's any kind of like little scratches on it, you can polish this material. You can go online and find out. I know that I made some of them going away just by rubbing on them. But basically, I guess you catch the light, which is not the way you would want them displayed. You don't see them anyway. But look at this. Now this is really what shows just how natural they are. That it is a rock. Besides that, they weigh a lot. And wow, look at that. But polished and finished, look at how beautiful that is. That is a just a unusual, unique pair of bookends, and I hadn't seen anything else like it. Well, I have these sale price for someone. Take advantage of it. They're only $88. Only $88, and you get both halves for that. Yeah. Yep. Oh, here's the other neat thing. They are completely corked on the bottom, so they are ready to go for a nice wood shelf. So if you're a rock and mineral collector, remember I have sold those copper bookends, which are of course very expensive. They come from the same area, so this is a made in the USA mineral, and I like that part also. So this is a hematite from the world's largest hematite deposit, and a unique one, and completely natural. And by the way, the other word, I think they call it is spectrolite, but it's, specular hematite says, gives you a little more information than just spectrolite. So there you go. Now, let me put those up. It'll take just a moment, and I'll be right back. This, I tell you what, I had showed this already, and no one took advantage of the incredible opportunity. This is a double-sided carved, genuine piece of jadeite. Now, jadeite really only plays Burma, for all intents and purposes. This, the carver was able to orient the most valuable color in jadeite is what you're looking at, that imperial green, bright color, that apple color green right there. Now, the important part of the carving, it's the dragon, and they are depicted with their foot on the pearl, representing the world. And you can see that green beautifully centered right there. You have the it's drilled, ready to go. Here is, so you can orient yourself, here's the dragon's mouth right there, opened up. So here's the body, and then you can see the foot coming down and right on it. Now, what's quite amazing is the way they are able to carve these double-sided and make it come out and and work, because then it's kind of in reverse. So here you have the dragon, there's his mouth open here, and then come down, here's the foot here. Look at the beautiful, beautiful green and very valuable color to that. Just a really striking piece. And it's called moss on snow naturally because of that perfectly, really almost pure white color, which is very rare in jadeite to have white. It's almost always colored some other color. And the moss being the green. So if you ever wanted a classic example, here it is. Now, I have this on sale. Silly me. But if you want to walk away with a really amazing deal and poach it like Brad seems to be good at, let's offer this for only $38. Only $38 on that. And I tell you what, one side of it would be worth that, let alone getting two sides of it for that. Now, this next item, since we are speaking about jadeite, or, jadeite-ish, we can look at item number 1165223. And what we get with that 1165223 is what is considered the other member of the jade family, so to speak. So when we speak about jade, there's really two kinds. There's jadeite, and then there is nephrite. And yeah, number 16523. Yes, sir. That does not sound like what I first told you, so I
got that one.
okay, sorry about that.
Well, it ended in 26. I knew it was wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely a tell. So in the other world of jade, there's nephrite. And nephrite is nothing to sneeze at, because I know close friends that have 3 amazing claims in British Columbia. And they have nephrite bangles that are selling for $20,000 and $25,000 and getting scooped up, and they're not too far of a color from this switch plate. So of course, making bangles out of one solid piece, there's a lot of waste to it. So you have to have a lot of good material that goes all the way around the bangle and is wide enough. So yeah, that much material is hard to find to create an entire bangle. Now these switch plates, we can use them. These were of course designed for most countries don't have our kind of switch, believe it or not. If you ever traveled to many places, you'll find that they often have a switch that fits within here. Now, what we do have that fits this switch plate is the dimmer switches. The dimmer switches. And also you can find and get, I'll just call them the European switches, or, you know, the other foreign country switches that do fit in here. And you can get those locally at any store. So if you want to create a really neat rockin' room, go all the way and put in a high quality nephrite jade light switch. And here are the two. So, and if you're clever enough, you could put this, oh, look at that, with it drilled, and you could dangle it from here and, you know, tie the two in together. But look at that. Look at that color. That is good stuff right there. And here's the other thing. I have it on sale because I'm not going to be able to replace it. So I'm not going to be getting any more of this. This is old stock, and I am going to offer it for less than what it, well, basically lose money on it over considering the amount of time that I've had it. And we were going to change out all the switches in our house, but we ended up changing out the knobs in the kitchen. Yes, really cool nephrite jade knob. So that was enough to do. So this big time sale price, I am marking this guy down to only $58. Only $58. If you were trying to get a piece of rough to cut cabochones, yeah. So if you don't like it the way it is, look how thick it is. That is plenty thick to cut numerous cabochones. And let me just give you a little idea. Look at that. Look at that quality. Wow. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, sir. So, only one I have, and only one I'm going to have. Grab it. Now, let me put this away. Okay. You guys have been enjoying some of my mineral specimens. As a matter of fact, I saw the list from the show that you guys just saw, and I think every single item except 2 sold. So good job. Good job. They call that, the sell-through percentage, and that one was almost 100%, and I wouldn't be surprised if every piece was bought, and making it 100% sell-through. So that is a good thing overall. All right, now this has been a real surprise. You know what? I'm gonna keep it as a surprise because I'm not gonna show it to you again just yet. But I am gonna show you this. This is a treat. 112-9923. 112-9923. And coming from my friend's mine, the Bella Vista mine, meaning beautiful view. And he has, and I've told you one of the most heartbreaking stories I've ever had was on a crystal having to do with imperial topaz. So I'm going to tell you just because you have to hear this story. He's been operating this mine. It's been operating, not at a big profit, but he's been finding enough of crystals, and these are from his mine, just to keep it going. You'd be really amazed at the environmental rules and regulations in Brazil, much more so than what you would naturally think. So it's been real difficult. I've been giving him a hard time. In the meantime, look at these. Look at this parcel. This is the good stuff. So the material, the crystals are found in a real decomposed kind of loam. The soil is just all, the crystals just are loose in the soil, basically. Everything has decomposed around them. And, you always hope for that glory crystal. Well, he was in the United States, and he would always come by our store when he was here. And, I've known him for years and years and years. While he was here in the United States, he had a cousin that would look out over the mine for him. He was here, while he was here in the United States, they discovered the crystal of a lifetime. The crystal you hope for, any miner hopes for, once even in the life of the mine. And it was about 5 inches long. It was the most beautiful sherry pink, rich sherry, vivid pink you've ever seen. Just as clean as you ever could imagine. He said the crystal in the market, anybody, wholesale, would easily sell in the range of $500,000. $500,000. His cousin, while he was gone, his cousin, not really knowing the value, unscrupulous merchants came, saw it, and offered his cousin a price that sounded phenomenally high. And like, wow, yeah, that's a great deal. I'll take that $25,000. The crystal and find of a lifetime, his cousin sold for $25,000 while he was gone. He said, Shawn, wholesale, the minimum, it would have been $500,000. He goes, it would have been something that, to show off, to, be able to finance your mine on, just showing, hey, I found this here. And this is what this could be produced. You could sell, and that's how they do it. So they can sell a percentage of the value of the mine to other investors based on finding something like that. There's all kinds of things that could have meant, and all of that was lost. So, there's heartbreaking mining stories that happen to all prospectors, and that one was a real doozy. So anyway, this is topaz coming from that mine. You have a lot of facet grade because a lot of topaz has, some inclusions in it. But when you find pink material, sherry material like that's just a jewel. That would facet and cut a really nice gem. Anyway, I had these, I tumbled them. I think I told the story before, how to get the diamond compound to actually, because of the hardness of 8, to tumble them, because aluminum oxide really wasn't putting the polish on them that I wanted. and Diamond did it in no time at all. So anyway, I am offering from Ouro Preto, Brazil, the Bela Vista mine, 12 stones, 23 carats. Here is a sale price on these. You know, if you cut one stone from that pink one, it's easily going to recover your cost of the entire parcel, which is only $48. Yep, only $48 for the whole parcel. And so that is a sale price. And you get a genuine, true-to-life story that that goes with it. That's a heartbreaking story, especially, you know, for my friend, because, you know, all of us that we prospect, we hope for something to find like that, and to be out of the country and for that to happen, I think he's still ruining the day. All right, now next I have something for you. Here, let's look at item 1126823. 1126823, and this is, yeah, this is a real sparkler. And let me, all right, look at this gem. Wow, a gem in a way it is, with the way that reflects light. So all that you see are druzy crystals, just some beautiful druzy crystals. Oh, by the way, here I just found another pink in that corner. Look at that right there. That didn't. It was shy. It didn't want to come out. So there's another pink in that topaz parcel there for it. If anyone grabs that at that sale opportunity. All right, now you have beautiful, beautiful crystals of vanadinite, and those crystals growing on top of blades of barite. Now you can see I have the chemical formula of the vanadinite in there. PB being plumbum for lead, V for the vanadium. You also have chlorine in the mixture. So it's what they call a vanadate for kind of the group. Look at that. Look at that. Some neat little darker crystals, which might be goethite or hematite here. All right, beautiful piece. Really shows really well, actually. And I have this at a huge discounted opportunity, and you're not going to believe it, because I said I was doing some sales, and this is going to reflect the fact that I am $28 on that one. Only 28, and I had bought a flat of these a good number of years ago, and so what you're seeing is the last of them, and I would have kept this over others, and I can see why, because of the graduation of color. It just makes it different and sets it apart. So as you see that graduation of color down to that really rich orange color at the bottom, and just nicely done, strikingly, on the blades of barite. Makes it different. Okay, now let me show you a perfect segue to this next item. This is one of the nice biggies today. It is item 1137823. Okay, we're going to leave that there for a minute, because it has a little something to do with this next. Look at this. Now this is a beautiful collector specimen. And so here's the little sparkler on barite, vanadinite as well. And what you're seeing sparkling, these little crystals, if magnified, you would see these, what looks like these bigger crystals. Now, everything you see, including the cream colored, look at that. Ah, great job there, Dave. Look, even these, okay, these are like little rosettes. They are vanadinite as well. Look at the hexagonal shape. Let me get a pointer here. And there we go. That is a classic look. Look at those hexagons. Look at that perfect one right there. Oh, these are so beautiful. Mother Nature growing these in a pocket. And then look at these little guys on the edge. Almost looks like barnacles on a piling as the tide goes up and down. They're clinging to growth and life. Well, these crystals are pretty much doing the same as they try to grow from these smaller to larger. Look at the beveled edges. Isn't that neat of that hexagon? Not all of them will have that. That's just a different habit of that hexagon crystal. See, like, look at this. See how that one doesn't have it? So that, when you look at the different forms that they're found in, would be considered one of the different habits or forms it's found in. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that cave of vanadinites back in here. Look at that. Look how immersed all of this is. Wow, look at that. That is beautiful. That's what makes this really aesthetic. You have these richer orange ones amongst these yellowish cream colored ones. And this is, whoa, look at that. Like pasta? It does. Look at that. Then you have another entire, with some of the largest crystals in the bunch, right in this unique location on the specimen. And there's going to be some other things left for you to identify, like this yellow banding here. That is going to be something different. Wow, look at this. This gray material. Look at that. Oh, and it's sparkly. So I would say that this has goethite on it, all this material, and I happen to know that this is from the four-man mine. And when asked why it was called the four-man mine, it was because we only 4 men of us work here. Only 4 people work at the mine. But it's known to produce some amazing specimens. Look, so here it is all together. Here it is. So look at this. This is definitely a cabinet quality size, and aesthetically cabinet quality as well. You have a incredible viewing side right here, or right here, even larger. And this is the way they kind of can assess things when you're looking at to buy a mineral specimen, or what a museum can look for is, pretty much what's its best side, or how many different viewing angles does it have, or does it have just one from straight in front of it, or can the person passing by it see a beautiful angle from this way and from this way. And that's what this does. This has multiple angles for your viewing pleasure. So the four-man mine. This is different, and why I've had it from the other vanadinites, which I had some from the, I think the core Dalin workings. I forget exactly how that's pronounced, but from other localities. This, though, with the goethite, happens to be from the four-man mine and is a really stunning specimen. It's a large size piece and aesthetically really attractive. I mean, look how large those are. So I'm not sure which way to display it, but probably in a stand that puts it upright where you can see the entire angle like the way I had it. Let's do that for right now. Here we go. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. Get to see a little bit of everything right there. Okay. Now, Raven would be coming around, are those crumbs? And she'll pick up every little crystal and put it in a little box. She really does. So anyway, you have vanadinite. You know what? I should ask, what group of minerals does vanadinite belong to, and see if anybody would get it right. The answer, actually, I'm going to tell you. It belongs to, of all things, the apatite group. Now you say, well, how does that possibly belong to the apatite group? Everything has to do with the ending formula. In other words, if the formula ends in the same way as another mineral, then they're going to be grouped together in the same class. So goethite is a iron oxide with a hydroxide molecule on the end of it. It is a polymorph of lepidocrosite. So you've probably heard of lepidocrosite, another inclusion in quartz, and you know what polymorph means. Goethite is actually a hard mineral compared to vanadinite. So hardness of vanadinite 2.5 to 3, and goethite is 5, 5.5, and that's why you can actually polish and create cabs out of goethite. Now, I should ask, goethite is Fe3 plus O and then OH. What member do you think group it belongs to? Of all things, it belongs to the diaspore group. Yes, the diaspore, as in color change diaspore. I'm not going to call it those names. They want to retail call it blah. Color change diaspore tells you much more. So yeah, it belongs to a diaspore group. And in the other, vanadinite belongs to the apatite group. So when you get more into the chemistry side of it, you'd understand that part. But pretty much all you need to know is it means that those different minerals end in the same molecular makeup. In other words, they have an ending being the same. So, and a different mineral, different element at the beginning part of it. All right, so let me have a moment to pick that up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I cleaned up a little bit around it and got the packaging ready for it. And price on this one, you wouldn't believe it. For what this is, a fraction of what it would be, but that's what you're expected to know and get from me. Is phenomenal opportunities, $288. $288. You have to remember that what you're seeing in the background, all this, it's all crystalline. The entire face of this is crystalline. That entire face is crystalline. Everything you see there, crystals, 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 crystals. So the only part that really isn't is, well, all the yellow ones against, look at the black goethite, or goethite. Pretty much almost the entire piece, three-dimensionally all the way around, is crystallized. That is a special, very hard to find, incredibly inexpensive opportunity. Don't miss out. Now, let me show you some other items that I have put on sale, and whether it's a diamond parcel or I have incredible opportunities on hessonite. Oh, that was a neat little tourmaline lesson we did the other day. If anybody missed it, we did a neat experiment with tourmaline and magnetism and garnet and how to tell some of the differences. So, okay, here. This is a perfect piece to, you know, if you're a collector, it's one of those really hard to get ones unless you pay a lot of money for it. This is item 1122623, and in this case it's not going to cost you a lot of money. I actually was lucky to come across a piece of beautiful, look at that, North Carolina Crabtree mine with shoral, and there's probably some hornblende. There might be even some epidote in this. And you know, most of the Crabtree mine emerald came in some type of matrix. A lot of the matrix was friable. In other words, it was crumbly. But when it came in a matrix like this, with kind of put together with quartz, so to speak, it really held together well, and you could cut cabochons from it just the way it is. And you can see just how translucent it is, and then be able to see all the different other greens besides the emeralds. Thank you, sir. Look at that. See? Great. And as we go in closer, you can actually see, wow, the crystals of the different minerals. And how fun. Yeah, great job there, Dave. Dave was actually just up in the mountains of North Carolina doing some reconnoitering around there, and up in Cashiers and Highlands, some really beautiful mountain areas, and you just wonder what's underneath those hills by way of the undiscovered gems. And there really is. Up in the areas he was in an area known as zircon area, where there was a zircon belt. Look at these different crystals. I wish I had a third hand to point them out, but they're, look at that olive color below the emerald crystals, really distinct, and a lot of fun. Thank you. So you could drill this, hang it up, or just put it in a stand. It would make a incredible piece to display, because the emeralds in North America, there are none except for the North Carolina emeralds. There isn't. So you have a couple mines. The Wrist mine has produced some stunning emeralds, and some guys have mined for decades without really finding a big find. And then, you know, there comes the day when you do, and they've pulled out a couple really beautiful crystals from the Crabtree and from the Wrist mine. But you know, that's it. Their days, they've turned over to just, you know, tourist operations for finding things. They find it when they can get more money that way, and I understand. So this was a fortunate opportunity. It was old stock, and I sliced some of it up. Now I'm offering this piece. I have kept this, and I keep discounting, even though it is really nice. And if you go and compare pricing on something like this, if there's a market on the internet, I don't know if you could even find it. But I know if you did, you would not be able to get it, especially for the new discounted opportunity of, ready, set, $38. So if you've been waiting for it to go on sale, that would be the sale price. Indeed. Only $38. You don't get the stand for it. Yes, I'm being chintzy, but there's so many other chances for you to get that stand. I will free, if you wanted me to drill it, I will drill it for free for you. So that I can do. Just ask for a work order to be done, made up on it by whoever you speak to, and they'll happily do that for you. So now I have a world-class treasure coming up for you that was really my favorite personal piece from the flat of this material that I got. And you ready for this? Let's take a look. 113 8223. 113 8223. And okay, you may have seen these before, but you have not seen this one before. This has been my personal favorite. And now you can probably see why. This is incredible Pakistani sphene. You can see the size of the entire specimen, so it's a small cabinet specimen. It is, from the quality of the crystals to the number of them, out of the whole batch, this was probably the finest piece. And wow, you read my mind, Dave. Okay, look at that. The one Dave's reading my mind right there. Okay, when you look at this little notch right in the middle, all right, you see the angle of those crystals, all right, see this notch, and then that, what you have here is a twinned crystal, which happens with these sphenes. You get crystal twins like that, and that's one of the habits or forms that they come in. And so as I catch the light across this, you can see just how it is, how it looks and formed. And then look at the clarity to all of these. These are really clean. Really clean. And then look at the number. Now, they are surrounded by, it almost looks like mica, but it belongs to the chlorite family. You could call it just chlorite, because it's really the generic form of chlorite, I guess, in a way. But clinochlor would be a maybe a little bit more accurate description, but clinochlor is a type of chlorite, and that is what some of these are just surrounded by. Look at that, tucked back in there like that. Let's come over here and look at this other one. Perched up here. And look at the clarity to that. Look at that. In all the other specimens I've had, the clarity of the crystals, you know, you might get one or two that are clean, but when you have this many, there's no way by percentage did I ever have this many crystals that were this clean in a specimen. Now, when you look closely, you have to look at all these other little small ones that are almost overlooked, and then at the white crystals as well, because you have, okay, look at this little cluster, and look at this. This is a cluster of calcite crystals. And then you're going to have feldspar crystals, which might be these over here. and I think it's going to be albite. And if it's a type of albite, it could be, if they're bladed, Clevelandite. And then when I first saw that speck right there, I thought, wow, that looks like gold. And there could be, you know, in these mines, there could be a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly, Dave just pointed to it on the screen. That's exactly what I thought. And so looking at it, I thought, well, maybe that's just a piece of glitter. Oh, one day the Raven had some glitter out because she was putting it on herself. Oh, yeah. You know, like gals do. And glittering up. And I got glitter. Some got on the bed. Some of it got on the specimens. And, you know, I was cleaning what I thought was, you know, because glitter's like these little tiny squares that look like little crystals. So anyway, first thing I thought was glitter. Well, it didn't come off. It wasn't glitter. Then I saw, as I was prospecting around on the piece, let me see if I can find it. There's another one or two of them I found. Oh, look at that. So it told me anyway. So you got to write this down if you get this, because I didn't have room to put it on the tag because there wasn't, by percent of it, there wasn't that much. But if you notice, look at this. Right where that is, you have iron staining. See that? In that, that's not coincidental. It is the composition of that is causing the oxidation to bleed out. And so what am I? I am one of two things. I would be pyrite, which would be easy to be fooled by fool's gold, wouldn't it? Or I am, because I am so oxidized looking, the more likely suspect, chalcopyrite. So chalcopyrite, which often tends to do that to surrounding material, is what I would say that little piece is right there. So a little extra goodie here. Look at these crystals coming across here, these clear crystals. I believe those are to be calcites. I'll leave it, look at that. Look at that one poking right up there. Another sphinx. You have the matrix. There's probably some biotite mica coming around the corner here. Boom. Look at this. Here is another neat little formation of crystals. That's the fun of getting a specimen like this. You just don't get it and put it up on the shelf. No, you explore it, you look at it, you study it, and it is amazing what you can learn and what you can find that even Professor Shawn would and might have missed. That's why you get your black light out. You look for fluorescence. You, if you have a Geiger counter, you check for that. Look at that form. Look at that really nice shape to that crystal, and it looks doubly terminated, maybe on both ends. But either way, look at that. That is a really fine crystal. How fun is that? That is what adds to the hobby. Is the mystery and the like, how did that form? Where did that form? What a see that's magnificent. That's all right. So this was like I said, my own favorite sphinx specimen out of them all. You can probably see why. The just even distribution of the crystals, everything about it. So anyway, I'm just going to, well, the whole idea is to pass these on to the next group to admire and enjoy them. And then that becomes part of my legacy, is this collection that I put together over time. So here is a chance at a world-class specimen, which is in the description, as you see. And your opportunity on a fiend like this, you could go to many, many, many shows and not see anything like it. Only $188 on this one. Only $188, and again, it's one of the well, out of all the fiends I had gotten, it's the nicest one in my opinion. So that would say a lot. You haven't seen that one before. I have never showcased that fiend. I've never even brought it in to show you. It's just something I have enjoyed. There's nothing like that color jumping out against the Kleiner. Oh, and by the way, the Kleiner color, all these little crystals, they're actually crystals. They're actually crystals. And look, when you, I just get so excited. So again, the whole thing. Here's the calcite crystals. Look at these. Looks like feldspar crystals lining it around there. There's just so much to look at. What a exciting item. Oh man, love that stuff. All right, now let me show you. My goodness, what in the world is this? Full cut diamonds. That is an opportunity. Okay, I had those little white diamonds. I can't believe no one got those little diamond crystals that would just make a beautiful display. But let me show you something. 112. This, yeah. If this could talk, 112 77 23. All right. A foil back diamond. And if you remember a while back, I had that competition to guess the weight of the diamond in the foil back one. And it was another one that came out of this, where this one came from, the same piece of jewelry. Yeah. And so I was able to extract the diamond from the bezel on this other one. I'm not going to do it on this one, so I could actually weigh it. And what it weighed, when all the guests, Brad had actually won, and I think he said like 13 points, and the actual weight was actual 7 points. But even I thought it was like 20 points and all that. But it ended up to have absolutely no pavilion. It was a thin piece of diamond, and that was it, really thin. And then they put look at that little bit of foil or aluminum. Now, actually, at the time, that's aluminum. Aluminum was valued more than gold. They didn't know how to smelt it from the bauxite at the time. I'm not sure what exactly the metal is making this up going around it, but what they would do is take a bright, shiny piece of foil, and they'd wrap it around these thin little sheets of diamond. And now this is by 1800s, you know, I'm talking about in the year late 1700s to at the most by 1830 or 1840, no older. So this, and you can see how, talk about native cut. Yeah, this is primitive cut. This is early diamond cutting. Really thin. So they would put it on a piece of shiny metal. But here's the rub. You had to be a person of means, because what happened is what you see right there. Moisture, or even ladies' makeup, or dirty water, etc., would naturally get behind the diamond. And depending on what the exact alloy of the metal was, it would oxidize the metal darker, or you would have, as the water would get in and dry and over time leave a leftover composition of dirt. And you can almost see that reflected on the metal. You can see the idea, though, of why they did it, to create a look, a bright reflective look. And this was the, you know, should I use the word technology at the time versus, you know, cutting a diamond the way they cut them now. So you can see it looks like a little bit of lead on the back, where this would have been lead soldered onto. This came off along with its brothers and sisters, which I took. There was like 3 other pieces, and it was off of a ring, and these were accent stones. I believe it to have been a ring. It was a ring or a brooch. There were 2 pieces at the time. This would look not like you see it now. It would have looked white and bright and reflective. So you had to have the money, and you would have your diamonds refoiled. Yep. It was on average about once a year, and it wasn't cheap. You can imagine, I mean, relative to the times, I guess, and what your wealth, it was probably cheap. But overall, a ring was very expensive, and then you had to have maintenance done on it. So this tells a story, and it's a story very few people get to have a example of to tell that story. And that is a foil back diamond. When and how have you ever seen these other than right now? Or the last time I showed it? You haven't. I'll bet you that you have not seen and had one of these explained to you like I just did. You could see the lead solder, so you could see it's something that, you know, could be removed, repaired, and put back on. Yes, they could remove it, take the diamond out, clean up the inside of the metal and polish it and put the stone back in. That would be another option. But if you want a piece of history, here it is. Let the stone do the talking for you. And I have this sale priced right now at only $34. $34 for something 200 years old or more. That is a jewel. You know, and that's just it. I just wish things like that could talk, could tell their story. That would be, and you know they have a story. You know they have seen things. They have been places. Love that stuff. And the thought of it, exactly everything it's been through. I'm going to show you one of the greatest bargains ever on an organic gemstone. 108-9722. 108-9722. And this opportunity is just that, a magnificent opportunity that you're not going to come across. Look at this. Look at this. This is a stunning strand of cultured pearls. I'm talking about Akoya. These are saltwater pearls, 36 inches long. So what do they call that? Is that opera length? I think, you know, they go matinee, opera. I think it's opera. Either way, 36 inches long. And so when they measure pearls, they always give them in 0.5 millimeter, because, you know, some might be 7.7 or 7.8. So they give the range of them. So these are 7.5 to 8. So that's how what they go by, so that you know they fall within that range, because there may be some differences. Look at these, and in the world of pearls, these are considered quite white. They're just off whites, and no clasp needed. These can be doubled over, and all kinds of tricks can be done. Look at that. Look at that. And if we can go in, this is one time that, I'm not afraid to show the close-up of them. The nacre, look at that. Okay, so most pearls anymore are what I call 6-month pearls. They put in the bead. The bead is like 6.5 to 6 3/4 millimeters, and they shoot for a 7 millimeter. In other words, the thickness of the nacre. Now remember, if you go from 6.5 millimeter bead and your total pearl ends up at 7 millimeters, you didn't grow a 0.5 millimeter around that bead of nacre. No, you grew a 1/4 millimeter on either side. In other words, on that bead, you're measuring the distance across the entire pearl. So, you have a 1/4 millimeter of nacre. That's it. You added to it. On one side, a 1/4 millimeter on the other side, added up is that 0.5 millimeter. When it went from 6.5 to 7 millimeters. A 1/4 millimeter. That's a flake. That's a flake. Once that starts flaking off, and it usually starts at the drill hole, it will continue to flake. And you're going to see that all you bought basically was a mother of pearl implant into that oyster, and with 6 months. That's all it was in the oyster. A proper amount of time is 2 years. 2 years to develop the right thickness of nacre to be able to give you this kind of luster to the pearl. The other thing is the amount of little blemishes that are on a bead, a pearl. And of course, the less the better. Now what they'll end up doing is they drill in the worst spot, so it hides at least, one, and if they're lucky, maybe 2 of any kind of imperfections. This could be restrung into a bracelet and a long necklace. It could be made into 2 18-inch necklaces. You have the length going for you. I have an opportunity. These in this strand, so think about it. The longer a strand is, the more pearls it takes to match each other. So if you're only trying to get an 18-inch strand to match, you only need half as many pearls as a 36-inch strand in getting those pearls to match. Think about that. Think about how many more pearls it would take to get that additional 18 inches to match. It's not just the same, it's exponential. That's why you can see how well matched these are, and think just how many did it take overall to be able to do that. I have this at a crazy sale price because I've been it's an estate piece, and I have the opportunity to offer it at an incredible deal. It's approximately 100 pearls. I am sale pricing this entire necklace for only $348. $348. That necklace should be $1,348. It should be $1,700. If you were in a mall store, this necklace, and you know me, I don't make up stuff. This necklace would easily exceed $2,500. they wouldn't even have one because, you know, the number of people that would be coming in to look at for something like that would be just minimal. I know. I used to be involved with one of the largest, well-known retail stores. I did the remount program for it, and so I know 90 stores in the Southeast. I went to 60 stores every 90 days, and in the mall. So I know how they're run and how they're priced, their goods. Yeah. This is a giveaway. So, and then break it down if you want to really have some fun with the amount of money. 100 pearls, that amount of money sounds like about $3.50 a pearl to me. That is ridiculously inexpensive. Okay, now let me turn around and come back here to the magic wall. Okay, this little lonesome guy. Let me show you. Item number 1018. Hold on. Yep, 1018721. 1018721. All right. Okay, made in the USA. Look and talk about some sparkle. Here is some sparkle. Look at that. And boy, oh boy, here is some beautiful Reynolds County.
You can move in there.
Reynolds County. Look at this. Okay. Missouri. Quartz, pagoda calcite, and other little goodies on there. Indeed. Okay, so those just aren't specks of dirt. Those are things of importance. Look at that. Look at that calcite crystal. Look at it. So it's, you know, referred to as a pagoda style because of the way the stacked growth is like that. And it's just nestled in there. Just tucked away and in excellent condition. Now, as we come away from this piece, I am going to show you the little bugs on the bottom. And you have these neat little pockets of more crystals. These little goodies that you see on the other side are little hematite crystals. Beautiful little hematite crystals. So look at how lovely this shows. Look at how large this specimen is. And it is a, no, we're good. Look at that. That is exactly the way a museum would have their lighting. Boom, the light right on the nice center object here. You can see all the way around that. And, you know, I might show you one of my tricks, what I'm using right now, or maybe you've caught a glimpse of it before, but you know, just one of these things that actually plug into a computer, whatever that kind of cord is called. And this is the kind of lighting I do in my cabinets also, because it's pinpoint lighting and it operates on low voltage. There is no heat. Let me check. Yep, no heat. And it offers that central lighting that you like. Okay, so anyway, here's the price. You want to hear something outstanding? Look at how big this is. Okay, made in the USA. Price on this, $20. Let's do this. $24. I said it. There. $24. I can't take it back. Wow. Now, okay, I am going to Well, I thought I had that underneath there, but I don't. Okay, I'm talking to myself. Here, let me show you, because this, well, it was going to segue into that, but here, this one. All right. Now, we used to joke that we end with a zeolite, but that's not the case here. I just want to show you this zeolite that is so underpriced. I can't believe I still have it. It is item 1062522. 1062522. And boy, oh boy, take a look at this. Isn't it neat? Okay, so you have, look at this, just two against, comparatively against each other. Okay, look at that sparkly thing with the calcite. Then, now look at this. Look at this jewel. And, you know, from another entire place in the world. And it is just as exciting. You have crystal on crystal, because you had the hematites and the calcite on this one. Look at this. You have stilbite, which are those, you know, and apophyllite. Look at the white apophyllites. And then look at the bow tie stilbite right there. And look at these other lovely apophyllites. And all of that on quartz. This is from Maharashtra, where Mumbai, you know, there were amazing basalt quarries right in the city limits of Mumbai, which used to be Bombay, okay? Urban sprawl kept pushing and pushing around these quarries. Amazing specimens were coming out of these quarries in Mumbai. And in the end, the quarries basically had to close due to danger, they couldn't keep locals out of the quarries. There was just urban sprawl all around them, and it just wasn't worth it. So they pretty much have shut down most all of those zeolite producing quarries that were the you know, really a lot of people made their money off of them in Mumbai, but there was certainly a huge side of danger to it. Look at that. I mean, that looks like snow. These incredible quartz crystals. Look at that. What is that green on there? That needs to be explored. Look at that. And then you have it all on basalt, which is the dark material, which is a volcanic origin. You might have some gonardite here. You notice my turquoise ring I wore to kind of go with the necklace, except the necklace, the turquoise in it are far better quality than my ring, but that's okay. All right, that's not a bad stand for it, but it's kind of just my one I use, so I'm sure you'll find something nicer than that. Okay, here, I have a deal on this, and this is ridiculous. This is like that one I saw that Brad had bought, and I had to look it up just how inexpensively I had sold that for what it is. Here's another one of those deals, and for no one to have bought this at the price I had offered it for, oh man. Well, all right, here you go. How about this? Try it out at $48. $48 on that. Now, by the way, that sphene earlier, there's not going to be that many sphenes left, and that's one of the Pakistani 4 that we recommend. Everyone needs to get one while I still have them. Okay, as the clock is ticking down on me here, let me, let's see. incredible morganite there. All right, I have, wow, that's beautiful morganite. Okay, let's see. Let's look at 112 6923. And wow, look at this. Okay, so if you can remember the two vanadinites earlier, take a look at this one. Give you another choice, and wow. All right, so this is kind of in between. You get to see a little bit bigger of the vanadinite crystals. They're nicely perched on the barite. Look at that, just sitting up there on the barite blades. And then you can see the classic hexagonal shape. And then back around even on the back side. So just a really nice overall specimen for that location and area. And you should love what kind of deal now I am going to offer, because right now that is sale priced at a huge discount, making it only, how would you like that for, believe it or not, $24. $24 on that one. Okay, let's see what we can get here in front of you. Okay, here, yep, I'm going to show this. Okay. I was thinking about hanging on to it because it seemed like it was meant to be. But 112 4423. This is the one that actually last time I showed it, somehow it didn't wind up in the paperwork, and so if you had tried to buy it, it may not have been possible. But this is the piece that Barbara looked up and verified just how rare this item is. And due to yeah, let me check that. That's 112 4423. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, so here's the information on it. In the 1970s, on page 72, the in the year 2018, the mineralogical record of the Mexican special issue on Santa Eulalia mineral specimens, there was a special article done on the Potosi mine from the 1970s. And that's when I said the time period that this specimen was from. And so Miss Barbara, being really the professor that she is, she did a little research and concluded that yes, that this calcite and hematite formation would have only been able to be formed during that time period, because as they mined, they hit a different area that produced a different type of mineralization. Look at this. This is stunning calcites and over hematite. Look at the red hematite. Look it back in there. And then look at how you have some calcite crystals mixed in there. What if you were tiny and could explore that? As we go in closer on this, look at that. Look at that. Now that is some red hematite. So you can see that there's a bed of hematite up here and then a layer of calcite crystals formed on top, and then you have these larger calcites. There's over 800 different morphologies, different habits of, look at that, of calcite. Okay, let me put a light in there and let's see if we can look deeper in there, in the mine. Look at that, exploring back in there. I mean, you might find something, who knows, a completely unusual mineral, or maybe even an animal back in there. It's called spiderite. Look at these crystals. This is a true rarity from the 70s, as I said. And in other words, Barbara concurred that for this, the only way this could form is if it was from that time period due to the geology of the mine. Oh, look at that. Dave zooming in on some, hold on some goodies I haven't even seen. Boy, under magnification, what does that look like? Hold on one second. See, I did not get to play enough with this before I looked at it. Look at that. What in the world are those? They're a mineral formation, but how unique and different is that? Dave, you found something there. Look at that. I have not seen anything, circular like that. That's not like crystalline. It's almost, it has to be like a stalactite type formation. I'm going to look at that. So again, offering something, good discovery there. That, wow, look at that. Oh, that goes all the way through. It's specimens like this that you can look at for hours, and that's where true excitement comes from. Look at that. That is, look at this, almost 6 sides to that. Almost, I think there is. That could be from calcite. That's too geometric for that not to have formed there. What do we have here, Dave? Wow. Wow, how cool. Whoa, look at that. Look at the crystallization up on the roof of the cave. Wow. Now you know how they made movies back in the 50s. They took stuff like this and, put a real spider in the back, and I've been into watching movies from the 50s. Look at that. All right, look at all the crystals around the outside. This has way too much fun to look at this, and this would have been is a very collectible specimen from a time period that is come and gone, from a very well-known mine, from wow, magnificent showpiece. Okay, it looks like that will be the last item of today's show, certainly one worth ending. I am putting a sale price opportunity on this and a phenomenal opportunity. Look up the mineralogical record on the Mexico special issue, issue number 8, Santa Eulalia, volume 49, number 1. I think that's my notes. 2018 mineralogical record. Okay, price on this, only $228. A giveaway deal. That's going to wrap the show up. We'll be right back with the trivia questions. Okay, so I hope you had fun with that, and it wasn't that long, or at least a day less from when you saw the last show. So I'm just thankful to Asif once again that we could get both shows out to you, because for me this is just a couple days since I recorded the other one. So, but when you got this kind of stuff around you, you know, the energy is there. You just have to just draw on it, and it's kind of like flipping a switch, and I'm all wired up to these things, and there we go. I am full of vim and vigor, and just in my zone. So hope you enjoyed this show once again. Take advantage of the sale price items, the unique and items, the rarity items. Those pieces, you know, once you mine something out, there's no more. And so from the Sphenes, you know, they had their big year of discovery. Then they filter in the market. Then if there's not other additional discoveries, that's it. They feed in the market, and they get kept in collections, and the price just goes up. The availability goes down. Same thing with vanadinites. It's just the way the market works. And when you can buy that quarter for a nickel on the front end, it's not like driving a car off the lot and what do they say, 10%, immediately losing 10%. It's not the way the mineral world works. So, you know, the pair of bookends, those big ones for only $88. Come on, take advantage of them. So, okay, here we go. 2 trivia questions. First one, and I made them easy for you, so let's hope we get as many people involved. And remember, your chance of winning the trivia is pretty high when, you know, considering the lottery is what it is, and your odds are, what, 1 in 300 million or something like that? Well, your odds are like 1 in 7 or 1 in 6. So anyway, here we go. Question number 1. What are the mineral names given to the 2 types of jade? So just a basic question. What are the mineral names that you're familiar with that are given to the 2 types of jade that are in the market? Okay, so that's question 1, which requires, of course, the name of 2 different minerals. All right, question number 2. What type of, well, I'll word this 2 ways. What type of oyster is most commonly used for saltwater cultured pearl production? Or I can say it this way: what type of saltwater oyster is used for cultured pearl production? So there you go. I thought that would relate to that incredible cultured pearl strand. So anyway, you can look at your notes. Don't go back and look at the show once the trivia has started. And Brad, I hope you let me know if I got the answers right. But I tell you what you made me do was go back and look and realize just what a good deal you got on those items, which I'm happy for it. And that's even what my my Super Christie notebook said. The notebook said out loud to me, well, at least if someone's going to get them that cheap, at least it was Brad that did. So there you go. The notebook is even familiar with you, Mr. Brad, and all of you. We're a nice, tight, small family. Let's just keep sharing the love, sharing the minerals and specimens, and I hope I keep showing up here every week, and that you do the same. God bless all of you. Love to each and every one of you, and I will look forward to seeing you next Monday. Cheers.